This is the Yozma IN10 electric dirt bike. My honest first impression was equal parts curiosity and skepticism. A 48-volt setup usually reads entry level in my head, and I was worried it might feel flat compared to the 60 volts and 72-volt builds I've ridden. The moment I cracked the throttle, that worry got shut down. The mid-drive hits with real torque, and the bike jumps forward in a way that feels lively, not scary. It made me rethink what a well-tuned 48-volt system can do. On looks and feel, it leans hard into motocross DNA in a good way. The red and black plastics cleanly hide the battery and motor, so it reads like a small moto, not a chunky e-bike. The frame feels stout, more mini motorcycle than bicycle with a motor, and that solidity comes through the first time you land a small jump or roll through a rock garden. The seat sits around 28 inches, slim enough to move around on, and the cockpit is tidy. I like how the display sits clean and bright, separate from the bar clutter, and the grips have that slightly tacky rubber feel that stays comfy after a long session. Throttle response is snappy without being twitchy, which matters when you're threading tight single track. The 14-inch front and 12-inch rear wheels are the classic mullet setup. The big front rolls over stuff, the small rear helps the bike pivot and put power down. Off the stand, the IN10 has some heft, around 121 pounds, but on trail it feels planted rather than heavy. From my experience, the motor is the star. It's rated 1200 watts with a 2600 watt peak, and the torque hit is what you notice first. Mid-drive means the motor sits low and central and drives the chain, so you get better balance and traction on climbs. On a steep fire road that usually makes hub motorbikes wheeze, this thing just kept clawing forward. Yozma claims it handles up to 30-degree hills, and based on my climbs, that checks out if you carry a bit of momentum. There are 3 speed modes, and the top one is spicy. I've seen 40 mph on flat pavement, and it gets there quick. On a compact frame, that speed feels wild, so I use it sparingly where I've got room. Suspension is legit for this category. The front hydraulic fork with about 220 millimeters of travel and the rear nitrogen shock took the sting out of washboard and small drops. I could push through rhythm sections at the skate park and still feel composed on the next hit. That consistency matters because cheap forks often fade mid-session. This one stayed predictable. Brakes are hydraulic discs front and rear with EABS. If you're new to the term, EABS is an electronic assist that tightens up braking feel and consistency. The lever feel is strong and easy to modulate, and I never felt the power overwhelm the stoppers. Range for me has lived between 35 and 45 miles when I mix mellow trail cruising with short speed bursts and a few climbs. I'm around 180 pounds with gear. Lighter riders on flatter terrain will do more. Yozma lists up to 63 miles, which I could see in slow mode with careful throttle on smooth paths. The 48-volt 23Ah battery is UL certified and managed by a BMS, which basically means the pack watches itself while charging and discharging to prevent overheating and overcharging. Charging with the 5/8 brick took me about 5 to 6 hours from low battery to full, which is good turnaround time for riding after work. The battery locks in the frame and pops out with a key when I want to charge off the bike. Key features that stand out in real use are the punchy mid-drive acceleration, the well-sorted full suspension, and the braking package that keeps pace with the power. The quick-release seat is underrated. Popping it off to get at the battery or connections is painless. The lighting up front is bright enough to creep home at dusk, and the steel kickstand doesn't sink instantly in dirt. The controller on mine is a far driver unit, and, in my opinion, that's a big win because it opens up tuning. With a Bluetooth dongle and the app, I tweaked torque ramp and speed limits to match my local trails. If you're new to this, controller tuning just means you change how quickly power comes on and how much top speed you allow. It's like giving the bike different personalities without swapping hardware. There's a real mod scene around this bike. I've tried a larger rear sprocket for more snap on steep climbs and a smaller one for higher top speed. Both are easy changes. I swapped the stock knobbies for a more street-oriented set one weekend and noticed how much smoother it felt on pavement. Facebook groups have a running spreadsheet of far driver settings, and from my experience, that community knowledge is a feature in itself. You can buy the bike stock, ride it hard, then open it up as your skills grow. It's not perfect. If you're taller than about 5'10", the cockpit can feel a bit compact. I'm just under that and I'm fine, but I could see longer legs wanting a higher bar or a seat tweak. The chain line sits close to where my shoelace loops hang. I had one lace snag on the motor cover cutout and started tucking laces ever since. There's a small gap near the top of that cover that lets in leaves and dust. A strip of foam tape solved it for me. At around 121 pounds, loading it into a hatchback is a two-person job unless you've got a ramp. And while the product page says road, I treat it as an off-road machine. Check your local rules before riding public streets because it doesn't come with mirrors, turn signals, or a plate mount out of the box. The points I keep coming back to is the core value. The way the motor delivers usable torque right where you need it, the suspension that keeps it cool even after a long session, and the battery setup that charges fast and carries enough range for a full afternoon. The UL certified pack and BMS give me peace of mind, and the hydraulic brakes with EABS match the speed this bike can reach. The tuning headroom is the icing on top. It lets me tailor the IN10 to how I actually ride, instead of forcing me to adapt to it. It's perfect for teens and new riders learning on dirt thanks to the gentler lower modes and stable handling. It's also a blast for adults who want a compact, fast toy for trails, bike parks, and backlot sessions without dealing with gas bikes. And if you like to tinker, this platform rewards every little change you make. I'd recommend this for anyone who wants a real off-road feel in a manageable size and price, and for riders who like to grow into a machine instead of outgrowing it in a month. In conclusion, the Yozma IN10 nails the essentials and leaves room to explore. The power-to-fun ratio is high, the suspension feels a class up, and the brakes inspire confidence. The battery safety story is solid, the charge time is reasonable, and the mod potential stretches the bike's life well beyond the honeymoon phase. In my opinion, that combination is what makes it easy to live with and exciting to ride. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel and drop your questions or your own settings in the comments. Thank you for watching.